Bank of America blaming its financial trouble for new fees on debit card users and tens of thousands of layoffs. Yet Bank of America did manage to find some $11 million in severance pay for a pair of ousted execs. Sally Krawcheck, well, she led the bank's wealth and investment operations, no more, but she's walking away with about $6 million. And Joe Price, there on the left, who led B of A's consumer banking division, is getting about $5 million. Here now, Rich DeSalvo, he's the former managing director at Morgan Stanley and CEO of RichDeSalvo Consulting. Hi, Richard.
Hello, Arthel.
Okay, so you wonder why these protesters are spitting mad. And of course, we're not condoning anti-capitalism, but this is outright unfair. And Bank of America was a private company. But Richard, how did they get away with this? How did they justify this?
Well, here's what happened. Okay, it's very simple. First of all, the $11 million that you talked about a few moments ago was not something that they sat around after they decided to let the two of them go. This was something that was negotiated long before they even got hired in the first place. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying the problem initially started at their time of hire. They started negotiating this, and why they do this is, frankly, because they feel that they can. They feel they have leverage. If you want to hire me, you've got to make sure that on the back end, if there's any change in control of the company or I'm fired without any cause, I want, quote, my protection or my piece of the pie at the end.
Yeah, but how do you forecast what the piece, how big the pie is going to be in terms of growing while you're there? Really?
Well, this to me is the fascinating point, and it's what I struggle with. And as you mentioned my title at Morgan Stanley, I lived in this world. I felt this and saw this all the time. And how some firms view this as everything it's not what you get in life, it's what you negotiate. That is one way Wall Street has looked at things. There's another way the firm looks at things, and that is one of a meritocracy, which is what I loved. Every year we came in, our base salary was not exactly going to change the world. What changed the world was we worked hard, we earned our money hard, we added shareholder value, and made a difference and drove revenue. If I did those, then I got a big check, or if something happened, I might get a check on the way out. You just don't get it for showing up.
Yeah, well, speaking about those negotiations, the people are taking their negotiations, if you will, to the street. The protesters have been occupying Wall Street for some 4 weeks now, and they've gotten support, protesters from LA and all over the country. Although they're passionate, do you expect anything to change, Rich, out of this?
What I don't know the answer, but here's what I will hope will change. I can't expect what I will hope. And that is that the wirehouses or the broker-dealers and the people we're talking, the Bank of America's, Morgan Stanley's, the cities, and actually creating, I'm going to call it a self-regulatory organization, and creating some type of a unification or unified program that says when an employee of a high position in power like Sally, like you mentioned earlier, is going to come on, right, is going to come on board, why can't we put together some type of a incentive compensation program for an exit package that's unified across, where if he or she performs well, then there is well on the other end.
Yeah. Hey, so, there are a lot of people who don't, quote unquote, get why the protesters are down there. Let's take a look at a graphic from the Congressional Budget Office. Pop it up and we'll read from that. Do we have that graphic? It's a winners take all graphic. Here it is, in which the top 1%, the income has grown steadily. Top 1% income has grown steadily since 1979 to 2007, while the rest of the nation has essentially flatlined. And of course, we're going to throw in, has nothing to do with the graphic, but don't forget that the HP boss was let go. He got $35 million or $1 million plus package settlement. Where does the buck stop?
Well, what I haven't seen right now is the buck stopping. And matter of fact, further into that chart, Arthrell, is something like this. From the Standard & Poor's 500, the S&P 500 companies, 470 of those CEOs have packages right now, severance packages, pre-negotiated packages, that range anywhere from $20 to $30 million based on how the exit's going to be done.
You're giving me a headache. That's just not fair. I mean, what's the point? I might as well just get fired.
Well, it's like I said, it's not what you don't get what you earn, you get what you negotiate.
What? Speaking of that, Bank of America received, as you know, $45 billion from government, our money, taxpayers' money. They are borrowing from the folks, laid off 30,000 workers. And then you give the fired exec, speaking of which, a $6 million severance check. But Rich, I ask you, where does the buck stop? Okay,
to me, the buck has to stop at the White House, and here's what I mean by that. If I was the president, if I may, I don't have to be so any sense of entitlement here, but I would say if I'm going to give you this money, it has to be conditional. It cannot be used to pay out bonuses and salaries like AIG, remember a few years ago? That
Yep.
wasn't right. It needs to be paid out for lending. It needs to be for lending or for job stimulus. Otherwise, you don't get it.
That sounds good to me.
Sounds good to
But
me,
we'll
too.
see if it changes. Rich
You got it.
DeSalvo, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.